Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. Today, we are unraveling a genuinely profound biological mystery. Why does romantic heartbreak feel so devastatingly physical? I mean, pretty much everyone has felt it at some point, right? But the actual science behind that deep, heavy, aching feeling in your chest is absolutely fascinating. We're not dealing with poetry or metaphors today. We are diving straight into the hardwiring of the human brain. So imagine this scenario for just a second. You're going about your normal day, maybe you're just chilling on the couch. Suddenly, your phone vibrates. A message lights up the screen. I think we should stop seeing each other. In that exact fraction of a second, time literally seems to freeze. Your hands might start to shake a bit, your heartbeat is suddenly thudding loudly in your ears, your stomach just completely drops, and the room, well, it just feels entirely empty. So how on earth can a few digital words cause actual physical pain? How does a purely psychological event trigger such a visceral physical reaction? It's a massive biological paradox, and answering that is our central mission today. Section 1. Love as survival, the evolutionary purpose of pair bonding. And this brilliantly illustrates why we have to travel back in time to really understand why rejection hurts so much. If we rewind roughly 300,000 years ago, survival was entirely about the tribe, period. Isolation didn't just mean you were lonely, it meant certain death. Fast forward to about 100,000 years ago, and we start seeing pair bonding. Raising highly vulnerable human infants required intense, shared dedication from two parents. So love wasn't just some romantic ideal, it was a literal survival strategy. And today, well, even if you live in a bustling modern city, our ancient biology simply hasn't caught up. Your primal brain still actively equates romantic rejection with mortal danger. Section 2. The Neuroscience of Rejection, inside the heartbroken brain. So, what exactly is going on inside a modern brain during a rejection? Well, researchers actually put recently dumped subjects into fMRI machines, which, let's be honest, is objectively a terrible place to be right after a breakup, and they made a staggering discovery. The brain literally does not know the difference between intense physical trauma, like a broken bone or a burn, and profound emotional loss. The neuroimaging shows that heartbreak activates the exact same pain processing systems. When you say your heart hurts, it's not a figure of speech. It is a literal neurological reality. Let's break down that devastating response because there are 4 key neural circuits that go into absolute overdrive here. First up, you've got the anterior cingulate cortex and the insula. Normally, these guys process the distress of a physical injury, but during a breakup, they light up like fireworks. Then, your amygdala, which is basically your brain's threat detection center, sounds a massive blaring alarm bell. And finally, your prefrontal cortex struggles desperately to apply some kind of logic to the emotional chaos. Together, this whole system tricks your body into feeling a literal physical wound. Section 3. The chemistry of obsession, why we can't just let it go. So the crucial point is that physical pain is really only half the story. If you've ever found yourself compulsively checking an ex's social media at 2 in the morning, you can blame your hormones. A breakup is a profound chemical crash. Your dopamine levels plummet, causing severe withdrawal and craving. Oxytocin, that cozy bonding hormone, just vanishes, leaving a terrifying void. Meanwhile, your stress hormones essentially go rogue. Cortisol spikes aggressively, and adrenaline locks you in a constant state of fight or flight. Biologically speaking, this dramatic shift is virtually identical to heavy substance withdrawal. And this terrifying crash triggers a seriously frustrating phenomenon called reward prediction error. Your brain fully expects a positive outcome, a good morning text, a familiar hug, but receives absolutely nothing. Because your brain is this highly predictive machine, it registers this sudden lack of affection as a massive glitch in its matrix. It gets stuck in a loop trying to quote-unquote fix the error, which forces you to ruminate and obsessively play all those good memories on repeat. Now, you might be wondering why some people seem to bounce back so much faster while others stay devastated for months. Well, your psychological baseline really dictates your chemical reset. For instance, having an insecure or anxious attachment style often results in a significantly slower recovery compared to a secure one. If you naturally lean toward rumination, you're going to stay stuck in that dopamine withdrawal a lot longer than someone practicing active resilience and meaning-making. And crucially, your environment matters. Isolation drastically prolongs the pain, whereas having strong social support actually helps regulate your nervous system. Section 4. How the brain heals. The science of moving on. Okay, despite how intense and terrifying all that chemical trauma sounds, there is actually some incredibly good news here. neuroplasticity. This is the brain's remarkable, continuous ability to reorganize itself by forming brand new neural connections in response to new experiences. What this means for you is that the exact same brain that brilliantly learned how to bond with that specific person is biologically equipped to learn how to heal. You can, quite literally, physically reorganize your mind to function perfectly well without them. Let's move to how this builds into real, actionable recovery steps. First is memory reconsolidation. By safely processing the experience over time, your brain gradually rewrites those memories so they no longer trigger acute pain. Second, you have to build new social bonds. This replaces that lost oxytocin through friends, family, or community. Third is lifestyle regulation. Things like getting rigorous exercise and deep sleep, those aren't just self-care cliches, they are absolute biological requirements to flush the excess cortisol out of your system. And finally, meaning-making. This is actively rewiring your prefrontal cortex through therapy and reflection to turn all that emotional chaos into a cohesive, manageable story. To wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought. Heartbreak isn't a sign of weakness. It's evidence that the human brain treats love as one of the most important survival systems ever evolved. Your emotional pain is deeply valid, it is scientifically real, and honestly, it's a testament to your immense capacity for connection. So knowing that your brain is hardwired to experience love as literal survival, how might that change the way you treat yourself the next time your heart gets broken?